Boa noite. É terça-feira, 7 horas da noite. Nós estamos aqui para mais um programa de notícias da sua vizinhança. Hoje nós vamos conversar com o nosso representante estadual, Alan Silvia. Fique connosco. Também quero lembrar a todos vós que o nosso programa em língua portuguesa, Amigos, vai estar no ar amanhã, quarta-feira, às 8 horas da noite. Se está a escutar este programa e não é uma terça-feira à noite, é porque está a escutar um programa que está a ser repetido. Portanto, faça o favor de regressar na próxima terça-feira e nós teremos um programa novo para si. Entretanto, fique connosco. Nós vamos passar aqui a meia hora a conversar com o nosso representante. It's Tuesday night, 7 o'clock at night. We're back for one more show of the Neighborhood News. We are on the air for over 4 years and always at every Tuesday at 7 o'clock at night. If you're watching this show and it's not a Tuesday night, it's because you're watching a repeat show. Please come back next Tuesday and we will have a brand new show for you. If you want to listen to our Portuguese show, it's will be here on this channel tomorrow, Wednesday at 8 o'clock at night, and is called Amigos. Today we have a very special guest with us, a very good friend, and his name is Alan Silvia. He's going to talk to us in English.
Yes, and I'm happy to be here as always. So it's good.
And Alan today is going to have so many hats. He wears so many hats, from the state to neighborhood leader to a city leader. Can we start on the state?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you for the for your hard work on the state level. Our city, for the past 30 years I'm in this country, and I saw many state representatives in Boston. We really have an amazing group at the State House representing Fall River. From Carol Fiola to Paul Schmitz, and you, and on top of all the three of you, the Senator Mike Rogers, is a group of 4 that really always have the best work and put the best work for us. So, how are we doing on the state? How Fall River's doing on the state?
I think we've done well, and we want to continue to do that. You're right. We're fortunate to have a great delegation. We're immersed in what's going on at the State House, and we bring that all back to the district because that's what it's all about. You know, right now we're not in formal session. Tomorrow we're in Boston, but right now until January, we're going to be spending lots of time in the district, as we do when we're not in full session. But the district is very busy, as you know. You see me just about everywhere every day. And we stay closely involved. The delegation, we meet a few times a week, either informally or formally, so that we can keep up with what's going on. It's a moving target these days. Constant changes, constantly something happening that can make a difference. And I believe we are making that difference. We have, you know, as you mentioned, Senator Rogers, who is in leadership there in the Senate. You know, Paul Schmidt is chairman of Agriculture and the Environment, which is extremely important. You know, we look at even things that are coming up. Look at this question that I think it's question 3 about the farm animals. You know, Paul has had to wade in on that situation and the protection of animals. So we have a great delegation. We also work closely with Speaker Pro Temp Haddad, who, you know, you can't get closer to the top there, so she helps move things along for us, and we've been fortunate. We've been fortunate in Fall River to get the funding that we've needed to move forward. So
And the funds come in all different sizes and shapes.
All sizes and shapes.
All sizes and shapes, because the states came in with a huge project towards the Braga Bridge that we finally can drive with no barriers. On top of the Braga Bridge was just opened this week.
Really, since 2012, no one has been on that bridge without a lane closure. So, Department of Transportation did a wonderful job in getting that bridge opened. You know, we sort of knew in advance when the entire bridge was going to be open, but they wanted to make the press release. It is pretty exciting. I think there's going to be something formal about it. But I think it's important for people to realize now, as they see, you know, the spaghetti ramps are down, 79 is open. You can really feel that that's a different place down there. And as the 79 North progresses, it's going to change the scope of the waterfront. Waterfront's vitally important to us, and I believe it's going to be transformative when we look at our economy and where we're headed.
And we already hearing about the construction of a new bridge to replace Braga Bridge in 20 years.
Well, we're not there yet. I haven't heard one thing about a new bridge. I know that we're all pleased that they just completed this bridge. This bridge is now safe. We don't have to worry about any major engineering issues for years. There's still going to be periodic lane closures because they have to touch up some of the paint and do a few little things, but it's mostly small items.
Jobs.
They're still working under the bridge. They're still finishing up under, and that's where most of the activity has gone. People would often say, I don't see anybody on the bridge. I see one truck today, one truck, you know, Saturday. Where's all these people? Why isn't this work getting done? Well, they were all under the bridge. There was 75, 80 people working under that bridge, replacing those steel pieces that were rotted. We went under there to see it. So I'm glad that that's over with, and now we can move on to other issues. Obviously, there's lots of issues.
And now we can just touch briefly on the veterans, because again, Fall River's been very lucky to have you representing Fall River with the veterans there, and I know the state's been dropping money into Fall River for veterans.
Well, you know, we're fortunate. You know, I'm blessed to have been appointed by the Speaker to be Vice Chair of the Joint Committee on Veterans and Federal Affairs, and I try to bring as much of that innovation for veterans to Fall River, because, you know, it's true. We were forgotten quite often when lots of attention goes to Boston. You know, Boston, everything's around Boston. So I've been fortunate with the Joint Committee on Veterans to do some things. Of course, none of those things get done without your colleagues. None of them get done without working closely with the chair of Joint Committee on Veterans and the Speaker. You know, if I filed a bill for Gold Star Memorial, thankfully we were able to get that approved now with a state Gold Star Memorial. It's the state location, the Commonwealth's memorial. That's very important. And we hope to do that in the future, because I know that we're in the talking stages of a Korean War memorial, and Bicentennial Park is the perfect place when we look at what is there already with the Iwo Jima Monument, really a monument to World War II, and now Gold Star. So like Joe Marshall is working on some of the replication of the Vietnam Wall. So I like to think that we're the perfect location for war memorials. And what better backdrop is there than the battleship Massachusetts? In itself, it's the largest collection of ships, U.S. ships in the country. So that in itself is a great tourist attraction, and that's what our economy. You know, it's not just one thing that's going to help us here. It's not going to be just manufacturing. It's not going to be just biotechnology. Tourism is going to play a very important role in the future of Fall River.
I know that 79 was another huge project that the state dropped here in Fall
State
River.
and federal money, yes.
It's anything else that it's state working on that has been coming into Fall River in the future?
Well, right now we're closely watching what's going to happen with 79 North. That, of course, that has to be bonded for and move forward through the state. We're looking at some major changes in the south end of the city. Of course, something we've been working with the South End Neighborhood Association and closely with the mayor and other stakeholders in the city to get a portion of that mill demolished. It's a public safety hazard, has been for a number of years. We're only fortunate that there hasn't been a fire. And I think when that comes down and we have an opening of Cook Pond for recreational purposes, that's going to be a huge event for us in our community, because it's just not for the South End, it's for the entire community. To be able to recreate there, to be able to swim there, to be able to go rowing and fishing, and a place for our families to go. Not all families can go to Disney World.
And now we're gonna switch your heads and we're gonna go into the neighborhoods. It's been, I believe the mayor attended couple meetings already since he got elected, and start talking about potential things to do and what can be done with the mill. On that, how we stand right now on that project?
Right now, the RFPs have gone out. The intention is to have a major portion of that mill over toward King Phillip Street, where it ends. That one section of mill to be utilized for housing over 55, and from the areas of the second part of that mill and where Crown Landing was, for both those building sections to be demolished.
So this is done already, like the pen hit the paper already, it's the done deal?
That's the proposal that is being sent out to potential bidders.
For the historical side, was any possibility of keeping the buildings?
The Historic Commission, we had meetings with them. They have concerns of when any building that was built 100 years ago is coming down. We had lots of concerns over that smokestack, if you can remember. $75,000 was spent engineering to ensure that it was safe. $75,000 was spent. It's safe. It's not going anywhere. The smokestack will most likely remain, and of course, a major portion of the mill itself will remain. So the historic nature of that will still remain. It's just probably the worst part of the mill that's in the poorest condition. The floors, in just every way, will probably come down, and it makes sense. What makes more sense is what the neighbors want.
Exactly, and I attended both meetings, and the idea was really the neighbors want to everything knocked down.
They wanted the entire thing. But we also have to be realistic when we look at revenue for the city and taxes. You know, no one wants to pay increased taxes. So it's great to say, well, let's level the entire mill complex and let's make a park. Except there's no revenue there. There's no tax coming from a park. The city is already in the hole $680,000, $700,000 in lost taxes from that mill when they took it over. The city's also been providing security in the evening hours. So the cost already loss to the city is over $700,000. So that's why there's a price tag for that, to put housing over 55. If there's housing there over 55, then there will be tax revenue coming into the city. We have to look at that when we think of services that we need. Those services are not decreasing; they're always increasing. So we need revenue that will. And if you had a park, who's going to service that park? Who is going to pay for the rest, obviously the completion of a park and putting in grass, putting in, if that was all park, and then no taxes coming in?
I think one of the concerns of the neighbors was because of fire.
Absolutely.
They all have that, they're all afraid that if a fire happens in the mill, the houses across the streets automatically, I mean,
They would
so
automatically
close,
be gone.
they're so close to the building, they automatically will be gone. So in one way, the building being vacant kind of puts like the building in more dangers
Absolutely.
of fire. But if we're gonna fix the building and move people in, that could still happen.
Well, it could still
fire.
happen, but don't forget, if people are living in one section where half of the mill now, you'll have fire systems in place, you'll have smoke alarms and fire detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. So there are plenty of early warning advances if the building's occupied. Unlike a building that's unoccupied with no water system, no fire retardant system in place or alarms. So it would be safer. And the neighbors have been pretty acceptable of the fact that a portion of it would be revenue producing, and they did not want low-income housing. They want it to be over 55. There's an issue with low-income housing.
And a lot of them were looking for the good view. If you take that
Absolutely.
Mulser out
It's
of
actually
that,
a great
you know,
view,
you know.
because if you have any time and you look where Cook Pond is, and you can stand in that area behind it or to the side of it, it's an incredible view. It's a beautiful pond. And you know, many years ago, my father would whack me because I would go swimming there when I was a child. We know that was 60 years ago, 50 years ago, I'm sorry. I don't want to make myself older than I am. But it was dangerous then.
Yeah.
It was dangerous because it was a dumping ground. Those mills at that time were still operating, and they were dumping chemicals, they were dumping any of their waste into Cook Pond. Now, it's been years. That water's clean. That's fed underground by springs, and that water's carried out to the river. So it's much cleaner. There's incredible fish in there. We're having the water tested. No doubt in my mind it'd be a place where people can swim and recreate. So it's going to be a beautiful location.
It is any architect's design.
Oh, yes, we've
done
had
with the area.
Yep, there's a company, I forget the name off the top of my head, but that was part of what the funding was used for from what is that they use for parks and people can apply for? I know you've applied for some.
The grants?
The grants
Yes,
from
CPA?
CPA. The CPA money, part of the CPA money was used already to do an architectural design as to several different, and they brought that before our neighborhood meeting, several different possibilities of what that could be, what parking areas would be. They're also looking at an area, if whoever develops that also has across the street where the flea market is, that building's available for sale as well. So you're talking about a large expansion of an area that could really improve conditions in the South End. So, I mean,
You do have more mills on
we
your
have plenty of
neighborhood.
mills in Fall River.
On your neighborhood?
Neighborhood, of course, we have another mill that just became vacant on Globe Mills Avenue, down there at Duro, where Duro is, off of Globe Mill, off of Globe Street. So that
Across
that's
from the gas station, right?
Yeah.
That,
all that down the back if you go down Chase Street. So that will be taken over by the city soon because they owe over $200,000 in back taxes. So I really do want to see our mills stay, as many as possible, but I like to see them filled. That's why we're so excited when Good Clothing Company came in and other manufacturers who have come in to utilize this space. We have incredible space, and the price is right. So now we have companies from all over the world really looking at our space and at our workforce, because we have people who want to work.
And I always said that it is companies. Everybody was saying, you know, the textile years are gone. The textile years are gone in Fall River because we don't go look for them. But there are states out there, they are full of them, and some of them, they want to extend, but they don't have the mills to do it. And we have, you know, a good water price. We have cheap water. We have the manpower to do it. We have the mills empty to do it. We just need somebody probably to pick up the suitcase and travel into those states and knock on those doors and tell, I have the perfect mill for you to move in. If
you look at already, you know, you have mills that are operating now here in Fall River, Griffin Manufacturing, for example. And the company that I was involved in bringing in, Good Clothing Company, they've already doubled their employees in 1 year, and now are picking up a multi-million-dollar contract. They're receiving an award in Boston next week through the state. So there's great potential. Square footage cost in Fall River for mill space, when people hear that in New York, they want to jump all over that. They can't believe how little it is to rent space in our mills. It's not always going to stay that way. That price is going to end up going up. We're going to see an increase, an influx of manufacturing, I believe, in the textile industry. So where you said we thought it was dead, it's not dead.
It's not dead. And it's funny because when you talk to people, especially to those that are supposed to fund the jobs and fund the companies to move in, the excuse was the textiles, it's dead.
It's not dead.
It's not that. It's proven that it's not that. And now we just had a company, the My Pillow, trying to buy the Lincoln School to extend, you know, the production. So, and they contact us. They give us the contact for another 3 companies. Yeah. You know, so it is out there. It's just a matter. We need to get out there, and we need to sell Fall River, not for the hotels but we need to sell the Fall River to the companies to bring jobs.
Oh, I believe it's going to happen, and we're primed to do that now. There are more eyes on Fall River now than probably ever. And keep in mind, when a company like, and I'll mention Good Clothing again because I'm so familiar with them, we were down there last week. But you have Matuk, and you have so many others. But when a company like that comes in, outsiders come to visit. Now, they just hired a general manager. He's coming from Hanes Underwear, from the Midwest. He's moving his entire family to Fall River. He was a manager of their plant there. He's coming to Good Clothing Company because they're getting expanded contracts. So think of what that means. That means lots of jobs. And we have a workforce. Not everyone has a degree in chemistry. Not everyone has a PhD. And result, not everyone will be working at the biopark. People need to work. And we have a workforce that, sure, we may have a low educational attainment level. We may not have all college grads, but we have people that are work, and their background is in textiles.
Yes, and that's to say that from the textile that we lost in the past 15 years, only 40% did find a job. All the others, you know, they still looking for that job. They know what to do.
And they're still closed. You know, Quaker closed. That was a terrible blow to Fall River. Now Duro's closed. Duro was sort of a last stronghold. They printed and dyed material. There used to be several of those companies in Fall River.
We still have one on the Flint too. We still have the Fall River shirt.
Fall River shirt is another example. We toured them as well. So it's so interesting when you look at the possibilities of expansion, the low cost to purchase square footage space for manufacturing. It's the perfect storm for bringing in new companies. So I think we're going to see an increase in the companies, manufacturers moving into the city, and that coupled with the biotechnology industry, that coupled with improvements on our waterfront, that's all stimulators. That's all going to stimulate this economy. And we need it so desperately here. When you look at what's going on in Boston, they're booming. You drive into the highway, you see all the cranes sticking in the air. That's success. That's moving forward. We want to see that happen in Fall River.
And the South End neighborhoods, that's the major issue that you have.
Major issue is there, but we have lots of concerns about our parks. Abbott Court needs some serious work. Griffin Park, I've just met with some folks who public-private partnership. Griffin Park, and for people who don't know where that is, it's on 4th and 5th Street. It's in the center of Corky Row area, and it's a place where you don't normally drive by. If you don't live in that area, you don't drive there, unless you're going to car wash to wash your car. But it is where so many inner city kids, low-income families, single-parent homes need that park because they play there every day. And it is in terrible shape. So we're going to be working with the business community. We had one meeting. We're going to be drawing the business community in. I know you're going to be invited. Public-private partnership to, the city has committed about $125,000 to that particular park. Another $70,000 or $80,000 is going to be attempted to raise to really make that park a place where it will transform that neighborhood, because it needs so much help.
And for years, I've been telling the neighborhoods, you need to identify the business on your neighborhood, because the reason that we been succeeding is because we utilize every business on our neighborhood. We bring them the projects and they love it and they get behind. But if we don't go to them, they will never know.
And that's a stage we're in now with Griffin Park. I think that is going to prove to be successful. And as you mentioned, there are business leaders who want to be involved.
Yes.
They want to look at a project like, they know they're blessed. You know, many of these, the banks and the credit union, they know that. They look at that and they say, we can do something to help those people. We can do something to help those kids. And that was brought to me. That wasn't my idea. That was a vice principal at Henry Lord who came to me and said, Rep, I want to show you this park. I said, I know it. I was there for a movie night a few weeks. I want you to come with me. And it was really terrible to see. You had basketball courts that were only 6 feet high, not even regulation. When you look at some other parks, beautiful basketball courts, new, of course.
Yeah, and I believe we're out of time, so Alan,
thank you.
I
goes by
want to
very
invite
quickly.
you back anytime that you have on your agenda. We tape every other week,
Well,
so
thank you.
let me know when you're available, and I would be glad to bring
Well,
you
thank
back.
you for the good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
take care.
Alan, for your work too. And I.